Thank you for tuning into our first part. We're going to begin with our second part now, where we're going to dive a little deeper into one of our guest speaker, Thao's experiences in her life regarding Romania. I want to switch gears a
Yes.
little bit. I want to ask you about your time in Romania
Hmm.
and how that's impacted your life. And the reason I want to switch gears is because one of our core values and what we strive to accomplish during these shows is to share messages of light and love. And what that means is sharing personal paths to whether it's success, pitfalls, or anything that the guests would like to share, and how that's impacted their life in a positive or negative way. So we've talked about nursing, we've talked about mission trips and photography. What about your time in Romania? Because that's such a unique experience for yourself.
Yes, and it's giving me chills thinking about Romania. So I was working in the NICU, and a coworker had just posted on social media a mission trip that she had just gone on, and I reached out to her about that. And actually, her trip was to Haiti, and so again, I wanted to use photography to help people, and so I went on that mission trip, and that was my first mission trip. And that really, I feel like, set the tone for just God and how he influences or impacts people's lives. And so when I came back a couple years later, I just was in a very dark time of my life. I was in a very toxic relationship with a man, and I thought, when was the last time I was happy and I felt like I had purpose? I was on a mission trip. And so another coworker, she had approached me and said, Thao, my dad has this ministry in Europe, and he is needing a nurse to teach basic hygiene to the Roma people in Romania. Will you do it? And I thought, well, only if it falls on this weekend and only if it costs this much. And, I had these thoughts, these boxes to check.
Criteria.
Yes.
Yeah.
And of course, everything fell into place. It was exactly the right time. And at the time, I didn't really focus much on fundraising, so I was going to fund this on my own. And so I just thought, I think I should do this. And so I said yes. And when I was in Romania, I told them, because I wanted to be real, and transparent. And so I told my friend's dad, I said, I know this is a Christian organization, and I want you to know that I am not a Christian. I want to help people. So I can teach, basic hygiene, but can I also help by taking photos for people while I'm there, and I can give it to your church, because that's what I really love to do. And he said yes. And so what we did there was we would go to these villages, and they don't have running water, they don't have electricity, and they would invite us into their homes. And yes, we would partner with an organization there. So we would partner with them, and we'd go and sit, have tea, have conversation, and we would share the gospel with them. And once we were done, then my part in it was to take their family portrait. And I had this battery operated printer, and I would give it to them. And some, a lot of these families, they've never had a photo of themselves before. And it was just beautiful to do that. So as we're doing that from house to house, I'm hearing the gospel over and over and over again. And it was at this one house where my friend's dad, he was in our group because we broke off into little groups. He just sat next to me, and he said he just felt really led, and so he started to talk to me about God and about faith and just about Jesus and what he's done for us. And so he asked me if I would accept Jesus into my heart, and I said yes. And when I did that, honestly, I didn't realize what I had just said yes to.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'll be honest with you, I didn't feel, one thing that I do have to say is I did feel this huge burden, this weight, like, come off of my chest, because my life at that time, I felt like work's going good. My parents are happy and healthy. I have great friends, but it was just this relationship that I was in that I can't make it work, And I just realized, I'm just going to surrender and just give it to God. And that's why Romania was such a memorable trip for me. because here I am going to serve and to help others, but then I also got saved myself, on that trip.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
wonderful.
I think it's a beautiful picture because
Yeah.
in some sense everyone's facing their own hardship, in their life and each other's life. But one thing that everyone shared was faith, having faith.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And so I know this is an introductory call, and we're not diving too deep into each
Okay.
topic. And it's been great learning about you. So I'll close with an open-ended question. And that is, what would be your advice to those who are, and you can pick the category. 1, growing up and figuring out what they want to do. 2, those who want to make a career shift but don't know if they should. And 3, sort of a different question, what would you have done differently if you could do it all over again? You could pick one of the 3 questions. Very open-ended and broad.
Your third question, somebody just asked me that yesterday, and I was like, you should have your own podcast. That's a great question. Gosh, what would I have done differently? So what I told her was, that's really hard to say. It's really hard to say because I believe in that we do have this purpose in life. And looking back at my life, did I make mistakes? Yes, I made many of them. Was I stubborn? Yes. Did I try to, do a lot of things on my own? Yes. And because of that, my path to where I was supposed to go, took a little bit longer.
Mm-hmm.
There were a little bit more curves to it, but I did eventually get there and find purpose and Jesus and so honestly, I really don't know, about doing things differently because looking back is just so beautiful because I am able to see that connection of where God was every single time I made the wrong turn. He was always there, because he loves us so much and he'll always pursue us and be with us. And knowing that, I can't rewrite the story because honestly, he's the author of it, and so I cherish it. So I can't say that I would do anything different.
Totally acceptable answer.
So,
That's amazing. Do you have anything to add before we close out?
I don't. I'm just really grateful for you sharing your story. I think it's very powerful to us and for all of our listeners out there. So thank you for that.
Yeah, and so something that you said that struck with me, something I heard a couple of years ago from one of my college professors, was that if you follow your passion, it's selfish. You should follow your purpose instead. Because when you're passionate about something, it's something that you've created as a hobby or a goal that you want to chase for yourself. But if you follow your purpose, it's been set by a higher power, and you should achieve that instead. So that resonated with me, but thank you so much again to the both of you guys flying in from LA and making your appearance here. Really appreciate both Minh and Thao. Thank you so much, and I'll leave it for you guys to say a final goodbye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you
We'll see you
so
next time.
much. See ya.